In Washington Heights, a neighborhood of many languages, therapist Cristina Farrera helps people name what's been left unspoken. An immigrant at 11 who turned pain into purpose, she treats trauma and addiction with one belief at the center: healing grows where community does.
I remember my first day in the United States. We arrived in the middle of the night and I felt lost. I felt that I didn't belong, and that was a huge feeling of disconnection, of grief also, of missing my community, my family, my friends. I was 11 years old and I remember having to build that from scratch. It was a really major struggle for me. And I felt very lost during that process. I didn't speak English. English is my secondary language. I had to learn it all over, so I do know what that barrier feels like. I wanted to help people. I wanted to help my community. I wanted to help those in disadvantage. And I wanted to help people achieve their maximum potential in life. And that's what I was trying to do at the same time. So through that journey, I also was healing. And I was healing that trauma that comes from previous generations, the lack of opportunities. I was the first one to graduate college in my family and pursue a career in the field. So I do believe that it is part of who I am and who I needed to be in order to also heal my own past struggles. I come from a very low socioeconomic background and a very limited opportunities, and I had to basically transcend, and I did that through helping others. The most common areas of trauma for Latinas are related to immigration, deportation, separation, even assimilating to a new culture when they come to the United States. Also racism, discrimination, even language-based discrimination, as well as things that have to do with our culture, like machismo, and being abused because of these cultural beliefs, and being emotionally, physically, domestic violence, even sexually abused within the culture. My father was an addict. I decided to get into the substance use field. I wanted to understand addiction. I wanted to understand my father. And I understood how trauma is related also to substance use. So when I started treating addiction, that was also part of that healing process from my family. Having family members, not just my father, who have substance use disorders and have struggled, and some of them are still struggling. And being able to understand that, gaining that perspective helps a lot to not take things personal and understand and forgive and heal. We already know there's not that many Latino therapists available, and especially Spanish speaking. Language can be a major barrier for treatment, a major one. That's one of the reasons that I dedicate to help my community. I work in a community in Washington Heights, in a clinic in Washington Heights, aside from my main job, in which majority of the population I treat is Spanish speaking. So resources is a major one, as well as, of course, opportunities for education, for awareness about mental health, for opportunities for growth, for advancement, for employment, career options, for medical insurance, right? And for financial progress, right? So there's so many things that the Latino community can utilize to help themselves, because these are factors that can impact mental health. When I look at a client, I look at the biopsychosocial approach of physical health, mental health, but also what's going on around you. What do you have access to? What are you lacking? Because without those needs being met first, it's so difficult for them to get better. Things that have affected me in the past is being aware of what triggers me. mentally, right? What are those triggers, and developing those healthy coping skills around family. So a lot of the behaviors that were also passed on to me, I had to readjust, right? I was raised in a household where yelling was normal, screaming at the kids and even hitting them was normalized. And DV was not seen as necessarily a negative thing. Domestic violence was very much acceptable in the community, especially in the Dominican Republic. So coming to the United States, having to look at what's healthy, what's not. Yelling at my daughter is not, right? I would never put my hands on her. Understanding the impact of what I do, refraining from those behaviors, reframing my thought process. So I always say therapy starts with me. Reframing my thought process, managing those emotions in a better way, and changing behaviors to become a healthier person around family. So the qualities that make a good therapist, foremost, is empathy. It is not education, it is having empathy and care for the people that you're helping. It is being able to connect and engage the patient. It is also having healthy boundaries, understanding that you're not a friend, you're a professional, you have a job to do to help that person achieve whatever goals they have set. So it is about also understanding that the person is worth of dignity and respect, and helping them see their value and explore what is it that they come to therapy with you for, and how do they go about achieving those goals as well. I always say that this is not a job, this is the calling.